Hey everybody, and happy October. Or whenever it is for you, just as long as it's not still September 2023. Some months can feel like years, but that was a decade. Like, if you were trying to keep up with the cultural zeitgeist like I was, it would be one hell of a challenge. Way too much was happening, way too much. Personally, I spent all 4 weeks of September sick. And although one of those weeks did get to be in Italy, I just got a travel bug that I added on top of everything. The point being, I was only able to make 2 videos this month.
Hey, subscribe.
I think I just learned I've been crazy for 3 months.
And I wish I could have made more, but I'm only human. A sick one. So I missed out on weighing in on some of the more topical topics that everyone was discussing. Until now. I could talk about 100 stories that happened over that time, but I chose 5. And not all of these started in September, but the discussions were still happening during that month, and I missed them, and I don't want to miss them anymore. So I thought today we could just recount some of those stories and weigh in on the topics that we all went through. And even just at the very least to go, holy fuck, that was this year? That feels like forever ago. Why is time feeling like this now? Jonah Hill became a very well-known actor when he was young, which is a curse I would not wish on anyone, let alone an actor. Because his first movies were cult classics that were revisited a lot, people had a very cemented image of him. Like when you would say Jonah Hill, a very specific version of Jonah Hill would be in their minds. It did not help that Jonah was also part of this Hollywood dude gang of male comedians. There was about 10 to 15 of them that would just pop up in each other's movies. And, you know, while that seems fun, it kind of morphs them all together and you kind of don't know what any of them look like at any given time. So he became part of that crew. And when people think back on those movies, that's the version of him that they picture. But as humans do, he's grown up and he's not frozen in time like the nostalgia has him. He changed his style, he stopped doing raunchy comedies, and he became a little bit more serious. And like every developing adult, he started a cult. Monetizing happiness? That's not satire, they're just saying the quiet part out loud. I don't even know what I'm looking at, so I am deciding to stop doing so. I bring him up because not too long ago, he was dating Sarah Brady, who is not someone in the entertainment bubble. She's just someone trying to become a pro surfer. And like most non-mutual celebrity couples, when they broke up, it did not make news. No headlines were broken. Some time passes, and then Sarah posts a picture of someone berating her for her revealing outfit in a swimsuit during a surfing video. Shortly after, more pictures of text conversations were posted, ones with the contact image included, so it's him. These messages were of relationship rules and of Jonah setting very strict boundaries on what Sarah was and was not able to do in order to date him. It did not read like someone sharing the limits of their comfortability. It read like someone enforcing rules, and there were a lot of them. And at no point did he ask her what her boundaries were, meaning he was pretty much just throwing them onto her. This started a conversation around therapy speak, or using words that are associated with healing and understanding against someone. Basically, studying what therapy would teach someone and then trying to get ahead of that, which is like a capital D dick move. This is because setting boundaries in a relationship is good and normal, and I think most couples need to sit down at the beginning of their partnership and figure out where each other's comfortability starts and ends. The thing is, it has to be mutual, and it has to be understanding. And if the boundaries don't match up, then you have to be able to admit that the relationship probably won't work out. And though we don't know if Sarah ever got to share her own boundaries that Jonah had to agree to, but just reading the tone of these texts, they don't seem very understanding or like a let's meet in the middle kind of a perspective. These seemed like he was setting the rules because he was the celebrity, he had more say, and that's where we get into the disgusting abuse territory. The discussions around therapy speech was, I think, very helpful, but the problem was that a lot of people were referring to Sarah sharing these texts as leaks, as in Sarah leaked the conversation, or Sarah leaked the conversation between her and Jonah. And in this term, leaked is kind of carrying a lot of negative weight to it, as if she was breaking some kind of like personal code by sharing something private. And while I believe that personal texts should be personal, when it gets to this level of severity, it starts to matter how many people know about this, and I see no problem in sharing and spreading this in order to get these conversations started. Because at that point, we're weighing Jonah Hill's feelings versus people knowing that Jonah Hill was very controlling and abusive. And, you know, I don't see those two as equal. I think it's good that this story took off because it's very common in relationships for terms like boundaries and trust to be weaponized and used against people in order to control them instead of what it should be, which is two people basically coming up with a agreed system that they can exist in. If Sarah's boundaries were this, Jonah's boundaries were this, and at some point you can't compare the two or try to involve them in each other because what he expects is not really believable from any human. You're policing the swimsuits of your girlfriend who's a surfer? That's like getting mad at chefs for wearing the chef hat. That's like getting mad at firemen for wearing the fireman hat. It would really help if I could think of an example that's not a hat. The point is, if Jonah found this kind of thing uncomfortable, he should have ended the relationship with Sarah. And then probably examine why he found those to be so violating and probably talk to a therapist and not just use therapy speech. In short, people should have personal boundaries that they communicate with each other, but they should be personal and not controlling of other people. And like I mentioned, there was this attempted backlash of people trying to take Jonah's side as if there was a side to stand on, being like, she should have kept that stuff personal and between them. And it's like, guy, you're fighting for the dude who was mad at a surfer wearing surfing suits. Like, at some point, you gotta pick a better, like, symbol to rally behind. At the very least, I think it's good that this shook some people's nostalgic idea of what Jonah was and start to get a more realistic idea of what he is, because people change, and assuming that they don't is, I was going to say stupid, but just ignorant. The point of discussing these types of behavior is so that we learn from them. Speaking of disgusting behavior, Keke Palmer is a very well-known and well-liked actress. She's been in a ton of things that I've really enjoyed, and while I try to restrain how much I love celebrities, she's just one of those people who just, I grin every time I see her. She's sparkly, full of life, and you can tell she's having fun in almost every interview she's in. Anyway, like most celebrities do, she was at some kind of event that was pretty formal, so she was dressed up in something with like a bodysuit or like a mesh or a lace. I don't know fashion. I'm not Tim Gunn. The point is, she was glammed up. And then her boyfriend started tweeting about her outfit from another location, shaming her. It reads as just a classic body shaming from insecure man of the house type masculinity brain. He tries to defend himself by saying, these are the points that I believe in. And, you know, You can't fight someone for believing in what they believe. But again, it's about control. It's about enforcing those beliefs onto someone, publicly or privately, in a way to control them. And it's very noteworthy that he didn't do this over text or try to call her. He tried to publicly shame her over Twitter. No, even worse, he tried to publicly shame her over X. That's low. I don't know how long they dated, but it must have been when Keke was becoming popular as an actress at least. And when you are dating someone who is very well known in the public eye and who the media is perceiving through the celebrity lens, you do kind of have to agree to this unspoken contract that your partner is going to be viewed in a very materialistic way. And it's not a great system that celebrities kind of have to allow themselves to be viewed as objects, but it really did not need to come to a head over this dress. Suddenly pretending like this is the first time that anyone has ever seen your partner dressed in a way that her stylist team probably picked for her, that's crazy behavior. We are in this very weird social moment where the antiquated women should be subdued and controlled in motherhood mentality is kind of clashing with the women should be hot forever. And also you gotta throw in the weird MILF appreciation renaissance that's going on. It's a disgusting kind of thing. I don't know what to make sense of it. But the end result is that mothers have it tough right now. And I think that's what leads to this kind of confused lashing out, because that's my wife and she should be hot, but people shouldn't look at her. She had kids, so she should be modest, but not too modest to where she looks old. I'm a dumbass. And this is way too common in a lot of marriages that revert back to those old man of the house stereotypical ways. It's just a little unfortunate to see that even celebrity relationships aren't even free of those standards. And one last side note on this story. The dress isn't even that bad. She posted a picture of herself in it after all this happened, which is a slay move, by the way, and she looks phenomenal. Why aren't you hyping her up? If you're dating Keke Palmer, why aren't you trying to show off to the world that you're dating Keke Palmer? What? Stop trying to control your partners and be proud of them. And don't choose this kind of alpha dad mode, because it just makes you look goofy. And eventually some 20-something-year-old is going to talk about you on the internet. It's taken so long, but deals are finally being made between Hollywood and the actual people that run it and make it work and do all of the effort. The recent agreements we've been seeing is hopefully going to start this cascade effect where more and more departments are going to be paid the fair and livable wages that they deserve. And of course, a huge part of this were the ongoing pickets of people who kept showing up day after day in order to make their voices be heard. And especially the people in the entertainment industry standing up for others and having actors and actresses hit the streets with these people. My personal favorite moment was this picture of Margot Robbie, not just because she's cool, but because you can see her clone, Samara Weaving, fangirling in the background, which is, a very cute picture, and it also proves that they're two different people. I think a huge turning point was when the Marvel VFX department went on strike, because Marvel is essentially just VFX right now because it's been trimming all its other departments. I know Marvel is one of the most popular franchises in the world. Everyone's got an opinion on it. Let me just paint you my picture. I equate Marvel movies to riding your bike down a hill, right? As long as you pick a smooth hill and you stay in control, you can let the wind in your hair and like experience that kind of rush. And there's nothing wrong with it. Although, if your hill has a bunch of speed bumps and crazy turns on it, and there's a Hollywood executive clinging onto your bike, stabbing your wheels, trying to let the air out, your experience going downhill is probably not going to be a fun one, and eventually, you're gonna want to stop biking altogether. And just due to the sheer quantity of Marvel stories out there are some good ones that I actually enjoy. It's just hard to appreciate them when you know behind the scenes so many departments are getting stiffed because of this over-reliance on CGI. Anyone who's been watching this channel knows that I will defend anything that involves Florence Pugh. That's my homegirl. But some things just can't be overlooked. The point being that the VFX team unionizing really scared the studios, and that's a huge mark of progress. It's a victory to see that these steps are being made. But while we're all getting caught up in like the good stuff, there's some other weird stuff that's getting overlooked that I think we should address. Sean Penn is known as a very charismatic guy on and off screen. He was very popular in the 80s. A film student will probably have a pretty good impression of him locked away. I don't recommend asking for it, but, they're out there. Sean Penn is one of the many actors who took issue with Hollywood's new goal of scanning actors in order to put them into movies without them ever needing to show up on set. Basically just getting a 3D model of real people and then plugging them into movies like video game characters. It makes sense why actors would not like that. And remember how I said that it's good that a lot of people in the industry itself are speaking up against this kind of thing? Well, that's true. But some of them are doing it wrong. Objectively wrong. And here's where we get to Sean Penn. So you want my scans and voice data and all that. Here's what I think is fair. I want your daughters, because I want to create a virtual replica of her and invite my friends over to do whatever we want in a virtual party right now. Way off course, way too far. There are a million better ways to discuss consent than threatening to violate theirs. Not only is this unnecessarily bringing in violence against women who aren't even involved in this, but it seems to imply that he and his friends do this anyway, and that this would just be a time that... Okay, hold on. I know these are unimportant, but the scans that we're talking about are for movies. It's CGI. Does Sean Penn think that he can graphics? The point being is, don't listen to Sean Penn. You know what I love? Wake-up calls. Because I'm all about growth, and wake-up calls are just a bullet of growth. You ever been doing something a certain way, or you believe something, and then one day you learn just a little bit more about it, and you go, oh, okay, gotcha. And even better than that, I love mass wake-up calls, where the audience of someone will start to realize something that the person in question might not even be realizing themselves. I think that's when a community is really coming together, when they can outpace the person they rally around. I want to talk about 2 wake-up calls that happened recently where a lot of impressionable audiences were shown that the rhetoric they've been following looks pretty stupid, and the people who are leading it aren't leading it well. I mean, God, I can't wait to talk about this. But overall, the main goal is that the people who follow these people blindly are given a chance to maybe see through the cracks and notice how misguided they are. Sneako. Remember him? He's one of those big online alpha boy anti-women figureheads. Well, he was caught pretty off guard when he met a boy who was anti-women in real life.
Fuck the woman! Fuck the woman!
What? No.
I won't get into it much because a lot of very talented commentary YouTubers have already dug into this thing because of the pure hypocrisy and irony that this entire clip culminates. I recommend these two. It's too perfect. You can't fake that look he gives of shock, confusion, maybe a hint of amusement, but mostly like, what the hell just happened? I hope this becomes the picture he is most well known for. And my heart breaks for that little boy who just met someone he looked up to, repeated something that person said, and then that person was like, whoa! Because that kid didn't think he was doing anything wrong by saying what he said, even though what he was saying is insane. And as funny as it is, I do believe that it's important to recognize that these moments are powerful. They expose these people who are trying to maintain this grift and composure in order for clout or business, and suddenly it shows their audience a crack in the mask. And maybe that can be enough for some of them to pull back, take a better look at things, and hopefully even step away. We'll move on from this. It's been covered a lot. I just wanted to, personally weigh in on this subject. Not for any personal reasons or anything.
Fuck, what's your... Kuncan Dastner? Kuncan Dastner?
Another completely embarrassing moment was this guy. Ugh, what a segue. I do not remember his name, his username, his channel name, and not out of, belligerence or trying to be spiteful, but more so because his 15 minutes of fame is just going to eclipse everything else I would ever know about this guy. In a video game that recently came out, in the character creation screen, before you've arguably begun to play, it offers you a pronoun option, which is somehow still a very sensitive topic for some. And oh boy, Starfield messed with the wrong gamer this time, because this was enough, and he decided to take a stand and make a manifesto video calling up this injustice and cry against wokeness, because for him, it had gone too far. So he makes this video, likely intending others to join him, that's just filled with passion, and it sounded like this.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit! Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
The people who did take his side did it quietly, because when you're trying to rally people behind your movement, screaming and holding a note so long that your eyes kind of go red is not a very good idol for people to stand behind. Even the people who do think that pronouns are this new thing that's being forced upon them weren't really vocal about this guy because A, it was about video games, B, he didn't handle this well. In a parallel universe where he is advocating for pronoun use, I would just distance myself from this guy too, because that sort of energy is not very convincing. This is what their side is. It's everyday people being enraged to the point of screaming their lungs out about a feature of English language that has been around since English language. This is embarrassing for him. It's embarrassing for the people who support him. It's embarrassing for me, and I'm not even related to this guy's stance. It's encouraging to see examples of these grifts breaking, or examples of these very public and insecure meltdowns because we see them, but so do their fans. Maybe the people who watch Sneako or are anti-pronouns see these clips and are confused why they feel so bad, and maybe that's the gateway they get to taking a step back and realizing that their movements are predatory and they've been being taken advantage of. I don't care who this guy is. Again, I don't know him. Like, I don't want his career over. No ill will against him. But it's the people who take his side, who then see this, that I care about. Because it's an opportunity for us to reach out to them and be like, yeah, it's not a big deal. And people like him are way too crazy about this kind of thing. And as for Sneako, him. It's not hard to pronounce. Kuncan Dastner. Get the hell out of here, man. These two examples were memed a lot, obviously, and good. But I think it's important to highlight the significance behind them as well. It's important to realize that moments like these are times that their fan bases could step away from that life and potentially have a much more enjoyable time on earth around women who have pronouns. So it's good that these are well covered. And I hope every ironic meltdown or screaming hypocrisy moment is as covered as this, because the more we push it out there, the more people see it, and the more people will cringe to it, because my God, these were not very good moments. I feel better. I feel like I got to weigh in on some things that have been on my mind for a while, and I feel like I'm free. No, I'm kidding. There's 1,000 more in here, but I'm a little more free. That's all I got for you. So thanks for watching. And let's hope October is not as decimating as September was. And even if it is, let's just get through it together with as much nuance and compassion as we can handle. Goodbye, September 2023. May we never invent time travel and you can live in obscurity forever. Yeah, I'll drink to that. And hey, the rest of the year can't be that much worse, can it? Okay, no more omens. Good night. Goodbye. Hi everybody, Sleepy Aioli here wants to say thank you for watching the video, and we really appreciate you spending your time with us. And you can kind of see me in the bell. Like, not really, but I'm here too. Anyway, feel free to engage with the video, like it, comment it, like it again, I don't mind. But thank you for being here nonetheless. And shout out to the patrons for throwing in a little extra to help make these videos go smoothly. Aioli really appreciates it, right Aioli? That's right, you sure do. Well, that's all from us here at Kuncan headquarters, so take care of yourselves this week, take care of others if you can. I love you lots, and goodbye. Say goodbye. Oh, you're mad.